Okay, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakat, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach the Bible in 100% truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes of Israel. Started with the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the land of North, Central, and South America, as well as the speckled bird. Israelite foreigners who look like the other nations, living amongst the other nations spread across the earth. Shalom to you. Now today, just excuse me for my voice. I've been a little bit bunged up over the last few days, and I'm going to do this video because this morning when I woke up out of a dream, and so with that reason, it's given me the reason to do this video. And this is Job 33:15. It says, "In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man." So, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai will pretty much send angels to you, and these angels will speak to you in your mind through dreams. And, sometimes these can come across as, visions and dreams that you remember, things that you see and you remember. And sometimes you wake up, you have no idea, you have no memory of them, of, whatever you were shown in that dream, in that understanding. You could be given a set of instructions. As it says, it sealeth their instruction. So you may have certain plans to carry out certain tasks the following day. Yet, we understand that everything is predestinated, so that before those plans are changed when these instructions are set into your mind, and then you wake up in the morning with a different idea or different understanding of what you're going to do. Now, there are other types of dreams which are based just off your basic memory, and so events that you go through and things that you see a lot. These in everyday day-to life, these images and scenarios get imprinted into your memory. And so, you could have two types of dream. One dream could just be a reoccurrence of one of those memories showing up, or one of them could be, as it says here, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon you, in slumberings of your bed, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai sends an angel to open the ears of men and sealeth their instruction. So, you have to sort of decipher the two. Now, so this morning, obviously, looking at the dream that I had and what I saw, straight away I can connect it to the scriptures, and that's probably the easiest and best thing you should be doing. If you have a dream, a lot of people say to me, "I had this dream," and then they like to tell me so that I can sort of give them some sort of understanding as what the dream meant. And really, it's not some big secret. You just have to know the scriptures, and if you understand the scriptures, a lot of these dreams make sense, and you can show people what they mean. I have explained before, for example, having a vision. When I first came to this truth, I had a vision, and you had no idea what this. You see this event played out, and you have no idea what it is. And when somebody explains to you what the scriptures mean, you then realize, what you saw was the precepts in a video form. And so sometimes you can have dreams which are precepts, but they're given to you in a vision form. And so two people could have two separate dreams and see the same precept play out in different ways in their dream, if that makes sense. Also it can happen the other way around. Two people can have the same dream, and then when they meet up with each other, they can realize, oh, we had the exact same dream. And that's the spirit again, guiding them and giving them an instruction and understanding. So the best thing to do really is connect it to the scriptures. Now, I don't get a lot of sleep, especially at the minute, because I'm working nights and I have a young child in the house. So a lot of the time, my sleep is broken. And so if one way to not have these dreams. For example, if you're, dreams from Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, these dreams that we see and we have, these vivid memories of these dreams from Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, they usually happen during your REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, which is the time in between, just as you're falling asleep or just as you're waking up. When you're in your deep sleep, you're not likely to remember any particular dreams or things that get played out in your mind. And so for me, for example, where I'm pretty much on the borderline of sleep deprived because of obviously my job and the child, and then what that does is suppresses the dream because I'm not really getting rapid eye movement. And when you're sleep deprived, when you hit the bed, chances are you fall into deep sleep very quickly. So you miss out that rapid eye movement stage. So you don't have a lot of these dreams. But obviously, as you can hear, over the last few days, I haven't been well, which means I've spent a few days in bed sleeping. So I've caught up a lot of sleep. And obviously this morning, I got woken up around 6:30, to give the little one breakfast. And then I crashed back down on the sofa. And so now that I've obviously not in a sleep deprived state and my body went automatically to REM stage sleep. And that's when the dream occurred. Now I was lying in this particular position here. You can see on the screen, lying on the sofa. And the first thing I remember, obviously, from falling asleep is waking up within the dream. And when I woke up, I was lying in my backyard in this exact same position, looking up to the sky. There were two other people with me in the backyard. I can't remember who they were. There was a male and a female, and we were not next to each other. We were sitting with a gap between us, if you like, in a sort of triangle shape. One person was over there on the chair and another person over there. And I happened to be lying on the grass like this, looking up at the sky. And the first thing I noticed was a so-called UFO, a chariot. And it was circular because I was lying on the floor and I was looking up. So, what you see on the screen here, imagine lying on the floor looking directly up at this. And that's what I saw, a circular shape. The world will refer to these as UFOs or UAPs, but the scriptures talk to you and describe these to you as chariots of Israel, vehicles of Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai, the Son of Man himself, will be returning in one of these particular vehicles. So the whole world is going to get to see. Now, in this particular dream, that was the first thing I noticed up in the sky. And straight away, I was trying to tell the other people I'm with, look, have a look. I felt alarmed straight away. Not alarmed as in panic, more in awe that, oh my gosh, I've actually just seen a chariot. Look, have a look, take a look. We've got to check it out. So we will. But what it is, the male, he couldn't see anything, and the female, she kept saying, "Yeah, I can see," but the man couldn't. And the next thing I noticed, around the outside of this one particular chariot were these smaller objects, and these were air jets. These were fighter jets, and these jets were shooting at the chariot, but it had no effect. And the chariot had a hologram effect, so I could see the outline of it, the shape of it, in a blue laser light, if you like, but the rest of it was almost see-through, and it was shooting blue lasers. And every time it hit one of these air jets, the blue lasers, the air jet would disappear. And some of them were far away, so you could see the laser beam shooting quite far off, and some of them were quite close, obviously. So there were short laser beam fires, and as soon as they were hitting the air jets, they were disappearing. And at that point, obviously I got more excited seeing it, and then I think I stood up, and then again I was saying to the two people that was there, can you see? And the man said I can't see, and the female said I can. So the man then left. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what the reason for that was. And then I then went to leave the backyard. This has all happened in my backyard, obviously, during the dream. And as I went to leave, obviously I went out onto the street, to get into a more big, wide open space to look up into the sky to see what's going on. And I can remember the lady trying to attach herself, trying to hold on to my arm as if she was my partner, trying to hold on. And I'm, looking up at the sky and I'm pushing her off as if to say, what's wrong with you? And I think I said, like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? And I can't remember what she said, but she was pretty much saying, I have to be with you. I have to be with you. So again, this all falls back on the scriptures. And then after that, I woke up out of the dream. And, once I woke up, I was back in that position, on the sofa, yeah, pretty much lying like that. And then I realized, I just had a dream. And it was very vivid because obviously once you wake up instantly, you're thinking, yeah, there's chariots, and you want to run around the house and tell people, look, look. But then you realize, oh, that was a dream. It's not actually happening. But that's how real it seemed. And so, straight away, two particular precepts came to mind. You've got Revelation chapter 12 and Isaiah chapter 4. So Revelation chapter 12 and 7 says, and there was war in heaven. Okay, so straight away, this is what it is. When you have these dreams, you have to think of the precepts and you think, well, what did I just see? I just saw a war in the sky between a so-called UFO and a fighter jet. It says, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Okay, so we know here in the scriptures, the dragon represents Esau, the Edomites. And it says that, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Okay, so these scriptures talking about, during the time of World War III, America will be destroyed. The events of World War III, you're going to start off with the Battle of Armageddon in the valley of Yehoshaphat down in the Middle East. And at some point, World War III will develop into ICBM fire onto America, Babylon the Great, to destroy it within an hour. At the beginning of that hour, these so-called UFOs, these chariots of Israel will arrive, and Yahushua will make his appearance. The elect of Israel will be beamed up at the very first moment of that hour within which America gets destroyed. And then continuing from there, there will be many other so-called UFOs, chariots of Israel, shooting fire on America and other parts of the world. And there will be fighter jets. These fighter jets of all these other nations will have to come together and fight against these so-called UFOs, chariots of Israel, and they will, lose horribly. But when you take into account all the Edomite nations around the world, the majority of these fighter jets are going to be Edomite fighter jets from Edomite nations. And, that's, Yahushua is coming to subdue all nations. On top of the list is Esau, and that's why it says here, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Because after that, once these fighter jets are taken out, you're not going to have any more in the sky. You're not going to have any more planes. When we get to the kingdom of heaven, you're going to have chariots. You're not going to have planes. So, as it says here, neither was their place found any more in heaven. So that's, this is going to be the last time you see these so-called steel objects with these jet engines propelling themselves through the sky. So, that's the first precept. Like I say, once you have this dream, you have to understand the scriptures. If you don't, you'll have to go to somebody who does. And so having that particular dream I had this morning, that was the first precept that came to mind. Now, the second precept was Isaiah 4, chapter 4 and 1, and that was regarding the lady trying to attach herself to me. Now, I don't know who that lady was, and at the time in the dream, it seemed quite annoying because really I was concentrating on what I wanted to watch. Obviously, we've spent so much time talking about the things that are to come and what we're looking forward to, the day of the Lord. Obviously, when it comes, when things happen, when you're going to want to see them. If somebody's trying to tap you on the shoulder, trying to talk to you, you're gonna be like, listen, move, listen, I'm busy, I'm watching something. But obviously, in her mind, she was trying to say, no, I'm rolling with you, and I was kind of, I didn't really pay attention to it, and I was kind of shrugging her off. Obviously, once I woke up and I thought about it, this particular precept came to mind, and it says, "And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, and let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach." Okay, so when Yahweh Shai returns, and even before that, during the time of Jacob's trouble, the Lord will lift up a standard. The Lord will give spiritual power to certain members of the elect to be delivered through Jacob's trouble. And when the people on earth start to witness this, the women, automatically their attitude will change. They will, know where it's at, and they will be sincere. And so when it says here, "And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man," 7 means completion. The complete amount of that particular woman will take hold of that one man. She's going to want to give her whole self to that man. She's not going to want to have her eye on anything else. At the minute, you've got your wife, and you've got her in the situation where you're married and you're living with her, and you think that you know everything about her, but chances are you don't. She's got her eye in many other places. Trust me, the way the world is at the minute, if as a man you're not, living up to your so-called role or whatever it is you're supposed to do, she'll be quick. She'll be the first one to jump in most cases. So, I mean, there are exceptions out there. It's not, I wouldn't say it's 100% exactly, but this is the type of world we live in, and that's all going to change come the day of the Lord. And when these women out here recognize a real man of the Lord, they're going to understand that is the only way for salvation. And they will say to you, "We will eat our own bread, wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach." And that is them in completion wanting you, not one part of them wanting you, all of them wanting you. Scriptures obviously tell us that it is lawful for men to have more than one wife. And so, you may have 7 wives. You may end up with 70 or 700 in the kingdom of heaven. But when it speaks of 7 women taking hold of one man in that particular day, it's talking about the fullness of that woman. She's not going to have her eye on anything else but you, if you are a man of the Lord, because that's the only way you're going to escape any of this judgment. So, like I say, this quick, short dream was very vivid and very real. Like I say, I could, it's like you could feel everything, even when the woman's tugging on me, and I'm kind of like, I can't see her pulling me, but I can feel her arm pulling me, and I'm like, "What are you pulling me for?" And she's trying to like cozy up, and I'm like, "Nah, get off. I'm watching something." And then obviously what I was watching in the sky, that's filling you with awe and excitement and shock. So, as much as we keep breaking these scriptures down to you, it's even for us. Come the day of the Lord, it's still going to be, one hell of a day. Adrenaline pumping, hearts are going to be pumping, and that's why scriptures also tell you some men's hearts will fail for fear of the things they're going to see on this earth. Yeah, so like I say, when you have a dream, really you should just try and apply it to the scriptures, and chances are you're seeing a precept play out in video form. There was one other man I know who, I think a couple of months ago, he mentioned a dream to me. He mentioned being in a dream and everybody around him panicking. He said there was loads of people around. They were panicking, they were screaming, and they were running left, right, and center as if it was the day of the Lord. And he said he was asking people, "What's wrong? What's wrong? What's the problem?" And I think somebody pointed up to the sky and said, "Look." And so he said to me in that dream, he looked up into the sky and he saw this huge man. And he said the man's feet were on the ground, and he was so big and tall that his head was in the sky, and you couldn't actually see his face. And what he was doing, he was stomping on people, just crushing them, stomping them, stomping them. And he then said to me, the person who was telling me the dream, he then said, I was trying to tell people it's okay, it's cool, you can calm down, But he said people weren't having it, they were panicking, they were freaking out. And so, even him mentioning that dream to me initially makes me think of the wine press. When you step into a wine press, what do? You take off your shoes and you stomp the grapes out with your feet, and you turn them into liquid. And this is one of the descriptions used in the Bible when it comes to the return of Yahweh Shai. And this is Revelation chapter 14. This is John on the island of Patmos, 14 and 19. And it says, "And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of the Most High. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and the blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs." So, this pretty much describes the return of Yahweh Shai. I mean, you can read the whole chapter if you like. It gives you obviously more of a description. And, this discusses the winepress. It says here the winepress was trodden without the city. And the city represents Jerusalem. And like I say to you, the moment that Babylon, the great America, begins to get destroyed, the elect will be beamed up out of harm's way. And then judgment will take place. World War III will continue. There will be chariots shooting laser fire upon the earth, and World War III, ICBM, so on and so forth. And this will be Hawa Bashim, Hawa Shai, pretty much putting the rest of the people in on earth into this winepress and treading you down, and until the blood come out of the winepress. Not notice it said blood come out. So if it's a winepress and normal grapes were getting put in there, wouldn't it be grape juice or wine coming out of there? No, it says that, and blood came out of the winepress, because the grapes are represented by the people, even unto the horses' bridles. So it's going to be so high. The horses, you think of a horse and how high its bridle is, and that's how high it's going to be flowing. You could be swimming in blood. It's by the space of 1,600 furlongs. One hell of a lot of blood is going to be splashed come the day of the Lord. Now, there isn't a physical winepress on earth that, the Lord's going to line everybody up and put them into and, stop them out one by one. This is poetic, the way it's written in the scriptures. And so, when that guy I knew, when he came to me a couple of months ago and he said to me, "Look, I had this dream, this is the same event taking place. It's, I don't know who that man was that he saw. It could have been Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. And it represented, chances are as Yahweh Shai. And he was stomping the people as if they were in a wine press. And, I said to him, the good thing was that you were calm and everybody was panicking. And maybe, because you are somebody who's going to be delivered. So, take that to heart. And then, when things get hairy out here, and your adrenaline's pumping and your heart's going and you're worried, try to remember that. And that could be a message to you to say, I'm going to keep you calm in that day, in the day of the Lord. So it was quite a nice dream for him to see, for him to happen. And obviously, like I say, if you have a dream, you've got to look at the events and try and connect them to the scriptures. A huge man with his head so tall, he's up in the sky, and he's crushing, stomping on people as if they were little grapes. And once you get that into your mind, and the scriptures well enough, straight away it brings you to Revelation chapter 14. Like I say, you can read the whole chapter and get more of a description yourself. Even if you type in the word press into the blue letter, into the search engine, you'll come across Joel 3, chapter 3 and 13. "Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great." And that's what's happening at the minute. The wickedness on earth is great. And so, the press is full, is ready to be stomped. This place is ripe. For the fact of the day of the Lord, we're waiting on the day of the Lord. This place is pretty much ripe for that event to take place. We're just waiting for the implementation of the MOTB and World War III to kick off, and then that stumping will take place. And so at the minute, we can look around and say, that the harvest is ripe, and the press is full. The facts overflow, for their wickedness is great. As soon as they implement that MOTB, it's going to be go time, and that's when the stomping starts to take place. So when you go to the chapter again, this, Joel chapter 3, this talks about the last days, as it says at Joel 3 and 14, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Like I just said, we know the day of the Lord is near because wickedness is abounding upon this earth. So, like I say, when you have these dreams and you're trying to decipher them, the best thing to do is try and relate them to the scriptures. If you're not so great with the scriptures, then, you need a teacher. You need to, obviously, you can either ask somebody. If you don't have anybody to ask, you just got to keep listening and learning. At some point, you'll come across the information and it'll all make sense. Maybe you have a dream today and maybe you don't have direct contact with a teacher. If you give it a few weeks, the amount of videos that are out there, especially from the men of GMS, at some point you're going to come across the correct understanding and it's all going to sink in and make sense to you as it sits into place. I could have gone deeper on that, but I'm going to leave it right there. Like I say, I haven't been really feeling very well, but we're living in that time where scriptures also tell you that Yahweh Shai is pouring out his spirit upon all flesh, and we're in the last days and everything is coming clear. So with that, I'm going to leave it right there. Until next time, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kwadash. Until next time, Shalom.
Swigging that deep root juice. Now we there burning boots. Set them spirit them loose. Go ahead, go slash up the news. With conclusive proof about the truth, the right. Cause whether we hitchhike or push bike or travel kind of trash. Manifest that with oats and roots rap. Manifest that, yeah, I do my zing way. Ain't nothing else I know. Gone up in the life with this ragged bone flow. Squeeze the pain from my belly and set my soul free. Travel over ocean, land and sea. Face enough stress and difficulty. Flung back from the brink, whining kinda stink. We don't give a frig about what them fools think. Trigger network, our network will speak for itself. Proof of the trophy and the champion belt. Come sun, come rain, come hailstone pelt. Witness the fitness, the prophets and liveth. One hope, one quest. Witness the fitness, the prophets and liveth. One hope, one quest. Witness the fitness, the prophets and liveth. One hope, one quest. Yeah, wanna submit with some old time shit. Let the old world know it's on some off key.